Okay, welcome to PSG YuGiOh. I'm here with
Victor?
Okay, what did you do today?
I got 11th with pure Crystron.
Okay, well that's sick. Let's go on into it then.
Alright, so let's just start with the one-card starters. 3 copies of Smyger, 3 copies of Inclusion, 1 copy of Foolish Burial.
Okay.
Foolish Burial is basically here for Smyger, because Smyger's effect is when engrave, banish to add Inclusion.
Okay.
And this is mandatory. These are the only one-card starters in Engine that you can run. Inclusion is the new suit of support. It is a custom card. It adds a card. It protects from battle. If you can banish it to summon from grave, it does your taxes, does your bed. Next part of the Engine, 3 copies of Solfefnir. I'll blow through these really quick because I need to explain it at the end. 3 copies of Sulfidor, and then the usual mandatory 2 copies of Tristaros, 1 Citri, and the 1 Thisfern, and the 1 Cluster.
Okay.
Okay, so these 2 here are your 2-card starters. Any Crystron in hand, toss it, summon, pop itself. When it gets popped, summon anything from your deck.
Okay.
Any Crystron from your deck, sorry. And that, again, that starts a lot of things, including Sulfidor. Sulfidor, when it gets summoned, normal or special, and the normal summon matters. You tribute summoning is a real thing with this card. You Foolish 2 Crystrons. And all these cards like to be Foolished. Well, most of them do. Which, one of the Foolish targets is Thisfern. Thisfern, much like Smyger, you banish it from your graveyard. You can add a Crystron monster to your hand. So you see it does a lot of comboing with that.
Perfect. Did you, so just with the trap, do you feel like it's good at 1 or... Like, because it's a continuous trap you find...
Basically, everyone runs this at 1. I agree with it, because you have first of all, you have a bunch of ways to get it from grave to hand, from banish to hand as well.
Okay.
And also you can get it off of the Inclusion.
Okay.
So,
yeah, that Inclusion is a custom card then.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. And then, is that it for the Crystron
Not quite,
main?
because there's a couple more. I should explain Tristaros and Citri, though, at least. Tristaros, about half the time, is just you summon it, you synchro. But it has, again, new suit of support, basically a custom card. When your opponent activates a card or effect, quick synchro, meaning summon anything from your deck, then quick synchro with it. Any of the Crystron cards.
Okay.
I'll explain what the targets are in the extra deck when we get there. But that's really powerful even on your own turn, because for example, you can just normal summon Tristaros, and then do the rest of your turn. Your opponent tries to hand trap you, quick synchro, full combo. Good times.
Awesome.
1 copy of Citri. This is if you don't get interrupted, Citri comes up. But it is powerful because it summons from grave to quick synchro. More importantly, though, this is a second tuner that, in combination with Tristaros, lets you summon Quarion Gandrax on your opponent's turn. So I main 1. Quick shout outs to that one guy in France who mains 3 Tristaros and sides the Citri. I don't understand why. Okay, rest of the Engine, 2 copies of Tidal, it's Foolish Burial, and the weird one, 1 copy of Rosinix. So, a card that you usually see in these lists is actually Praziordal, because Praziordal is banished from grave to summon from hand. In testing, this never comes up. For me, maybe it's just my hands or my luck, this never seems to come up for me. What Rosinix does is you banish it from grave to summon a token. And what the token does is it enables Sulfidor. Because Sulfidor, one of its effects that I forgot to explain earlier, is target a Crystron on field, pop it to summon itself. So, especially in grinding games, and this deck grinds a lot, just having these 2 cards in grave means you can summon Sulfidor.
Okay.
Without needing to draw anything. Also, you see a lot of lists cut these 2 cards, right? These 2 cards usually aren't seen in lists, and even a bunch cut the Praziordal. I run these 4 cards because Tidal, these 2 are targets for Tidal 2-card combo. These 2 are targets for Solfefnir 2-card combo, and this is a target for Sulfidor 1-card combo, 2-card combo as well. So regardless of whether you feel like running Rosinix or the Praziordal or even another copy of Thistera, another copy of Tristaros, you do need one more Crystron normal summon for this deck to work. Okay, and that is it for the engine.
Okay, sick. And then we have non-engine next?
Yep, non-engine next. Okay. Ash Blossom, Charmies. Apart from generally being good, you need something to deal with Charmies, and that's what I do it for. Veiler and Imperm, 3 copies each.
Perfect.
Pretty standard, detonator out. Veiler is just generally good in a lot of matchups, and that's my mentality for a lot of things. 2 copies of Nib.
Okay.
I don't like running the third because this deck has a bit of an awkward time dealing with a token. But there are a lot of situations, again, where this is just a blowout and you want to run it and it's good. So 2 copies.
Okay.
3 copies of Droplet. Really strong in this deck because discarding stuff from your hand is perfectly fine. Most of the engine works out of your graveyard, so having it in the graveyard for free and getting more negates and a detonator out. I said that, but I never ran against Detonator today. Spoilers. And now for 1 copy of Called By. I like it in the main deck.
Yeah.
It works in every single matchup, I swear. 1 copy of Talents. I know a lot of deck lists will run Prospy. I like Talents. It sometimes is Prospy. My favorite effect is look at hand and send it back to deck. That won me a game once today, so
yeah, it's a pretty good card.
And then 3 Ghost Ogres. It's more of a generic card that is probably fine blind going first. This gets sided out almost every single game with my side deck, which I'll get into later. I didn't feel like running anything else. Like, I looked through my collection, looked through stuff. I couldn't find something else I wanted to run here, so 3 Ghost Ogres. So that's 19 non-engine in this deck. And that's one of the big things that really let me like play through a lot of broken stuff today, is just the ability to run this much non-engine in the deck.
And then, so that's the main. How many cards in that?
40.
40 cards in the main. Clean 40.
Clean 40.
Okay, well, let's get into the extra deck then.
Okay, extra deck. Let's start with Clockwork Knight. Mandatory for making Smyger a 1-card combo. Because you just link it off, and then Smyger's in the graveyard. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Perfect. 2 copies of Skeletus, mandatory to run it. 2nd copy does come up in grind games. The 2 effects are on Synchro Summon, add a card from grave or banish. From banish matters quite a bit, actually, because it means that you can even play under shifters occasionally. It's not great, but it does. Essentially, you foolish. Let me get this guy out here real again. You get Sulfidor, you summon Sulfidor, you foolish, the shifter bounces it off the graveyard, but it doesn't matter because then eventually you synchro this, grab the cards you foolished out of banish, and you get to play.
It's pretty good.
Yep. 1 copy of Down Dragster. I have 2. I have never once found a use for the 2nd one I summoned. So this card is a Spell Trap negate, negate and destroy. Really, really good card. Works in almost every matchup, but again, I've never found a use for the 2nd one. Also, a funny thing you can do is that one of Clockwork Knight's effects is you contribute a machine to summon a machine with 1,000 or less attack in grave, and in grave this has 0 attack. So sometimes you can recycle this. Sometimes you can recycle it with Clockwork Knight, and one of the things you can link off for Clockwork Knight is the Rosinix token. So that came up in testing, did not come up today, but that's fine. It's a fun thing. Mandatory Nib resistance. This is one of the things that you quick synchro off of Tristaros to deal with Nib. It gets sent to the grave, you put stuff back on field, and you just make an infinity anyways. It's
Boo Boo Game, the synchro. It will summon back your things.
Yes. Quirion Gandrax. This card is so good. This card is banish 3 in field or grave. And the crazy thing is, I summoned this against Malice. It worked. It actually stopped the turn. Because they use one of the Malice to summon back once per turn, just send it back to banish, it doesn't come back again. The other effect is when destroyed, it summons from either player's banish, which means you can do some very fun stuff with that as well. Really strong card. Again, a bit hard to summon because you do need the to get the Citry on the field somehow, and then your opponents really like stopping that. But if it resolves, your game's almost over.
Sick.
Chambara, for pure Crystron, you do need this card. It attacks twice. It deals 46 to your opponent's face. I got to summon this a lot today. Got to close out a lot of games today with this thing.
Perfect.
Last synchro is Vermilion Dragon Mech. Does come up a little bit. Sometimes you just need one more pop, and this will get you to that one more pop. It did actually come up today, so that's nice.
It is helpful.
Okay. Then Xyz, Nova, Infinity. People say your boss monster is Quarion Gandrax. It's not. It's Infinity. Infinity is your real boss monster. Omni Negate. Stealing in attack mode is such a useful and powerful ability as well. One more thing is... No, I'll get to that later. But otherwise, yeah, this is your real boss monster. There are so many situations where you can just jank, oh, I have 2 level 5s. Oh, Chambara came up once. It's a level 5. I turned that into Infinity once. Then Romano, backup Infinity. It came up a lot more in testing. Did not summon it today, but it is backup Infinity. If you get debarriered, this is a play you can do instead of your synchros, because most people will call synchro on you. And then for the weird, last 4 cards are a bit weird. Dracosac. So Dracosac is a card that you can summon sometimes as more of a backup, oh crap, what do I do now?
Okay.
Comes up quite often in testing because it's, again, one more pop. The main way you summon that thing is off of Tidal. Because Tidal from your graveyard, you just have a ton of crap in your graveyard. You banish 2, summon Tidal. The other one is Cluster, summon Eloskeletus. You have 2 level 7s, make a rank 7, pop something. It works in testing, didn't show up today. But
okay.
That's okay. Because of all these Xyz, Zeus can be justified, and it's a machine.
Okay.
Great, I forgot to mention this again, but you do have cards that machine lock you. Sulfador specifically is machine lock, as well as Tristaros, the effect to pop a synchro to summon, that's also machine lock. So all these cards are machines, and you can summon them.
Okay.
Summon them. Zeus didn't come into today, comes up in testing. And then the 2 cards I hate. Makaba. Makaba only exists because sometimes people shoot Nova. And when they shoot Nova, out pops Makaba. This card goes in and out of my deck all the time, because a lot of the time, no one's dumb enough to pop Nova, right? So this is a dead card. And then I take it out of my deck, and then someone pops Nova, and a lot of people pop Nova, or they nib it. It's like, well, I guess I gotta put it back in. And so for the regional, I decided to put Makaba in.
Okay, and did it come up once today?
Nope.
Of course, of course.
And last card I hate, maybe controversial to say I hate this, but I do. SP.
Okay.
I never summoned this card. Remember how I said that there's a machine lock on this deck? This card comes out really early on. And as soon as you get machine locked, SP doesn't work at all. And a lot of the times when SP is a card that you want to summon to bail you out of a situation, you're machine locked. I never summoned it today. I rarely, if ever, summon it like in testing. So, but I put it back in because I had worse cards in here and decided to put it back in.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. And that's the extra.
Perfect. Let's move on to the side.
Okay, side.
Would you, by chance, maybe cut the SP for another Dawn Dragster or any other card?
Dawn Dragster is one of the cards I cut. So there's a lot of cards that a lot of Crystron players like to run that I don't have, but whatever. Some of them include like High Speed Lord Hygoita, specifically for the Ryziel matchup, so it levels them up and they can't Xyz.
Yeah.
One of them is Centurion Legatia. Specifically because off of Quick Synchro, a 5, and Tristaros, Legatia turns into a Quick Synchro pop. So a lot of people like to run that. I don't like running that. So,
okay, fair.
Yeah, there's quite a few other cards. The extra deck is where you will see the most variance in Crystron lists.
Okay, perfect. And then let's see what's in the side.
Side deck. 3 copies of Malice Hate. 2 more copies of Malice Hate.
Everyone's favorites.
And then 3 copies of Malice Hate Hates Me. So cross out mostly for the Lancias. Occasionally, you draw it, you get hand trap, you Lancia it. Feels good. These should not need to be explained too much, although I only run 2 Chaos Hunter because having 3 feels really bad.
Yeah.
Because having 2 in your hand just... Also, funny story, I played against one Malice player who darked my Chaos Hunter, and that beat me.
That would do it.
Yeah. So, yeah, another reason why Chaos Hunter's not that good. 2 copies of Thrust, and the search targets are 1 copy of Feather Duster, 2 copies of Feather Duster, D-Barrier. Feather Duster and as well as the Lightning Storm, I ran these for the Blue Eyes matchup, and I never ran into Blue Eyes.
Of course.
Dimension Barrier, Blowout against YuGiOh, I never ran against YuGiOh today.
Okay.
And the last 2 cards don't make sense, because I have a weird collection. The 1 copy of Meowls that fell out of a pack once, I felt like running it. It's basically the 6th copy of Chaos Hunter. I put it in my deck, I never drew it.
Okay.
But a smarter person would probably run more copies of Droll, because I only have 1 copy of Droll in here. The 1 Droll that I have did come up against Mermail.
Oh, perfect.
And I won that match against Mermail, so that was nice.
Just when you need it. Heart of the cards. Okay, well, I think that's it, but any shout-outs you want to give?
Quick shout-outs to Q-City Sales, my local School of Hard Knocks. You learn the hard way. Also shout-outs to JSB, my friends. That's just what they call themselves. I got them in the Gundam a couple of years ago, and they spent thousands of dollars on plastic crack. And then as revenge, they got me into YuGiOh.
Well, that's why we're here.
So that's why I'm here now.
Perfect. Okay, well, thank you very much.
Yep.